Well, as the new year begins and many are setting fresh goals, this morning we are joined by Aurora Suarez, a life and career coach, to help guide us in turning New Year intentions into meaningful action. Good morning, Aurora. Thanks for being here on the program.
Good morning. Happy New Year. So happy
Yes,
to
of
be here.
course. Happy New Year to you as well. Well, it's that time of the year again where we make all these New Year's resolutions, right? It's a brand new year, and in January, a lot of people really look at this time to reset. So they come into the new year hopeful, but some are also a bit overwhelmed, or they can feel that pressure on starting a new journey in 2026 in the new year. What's the right mindset as we welcome a new year, Aurora?
Well, I think number one, it's really, taking advantage of the fresh energy of the new year. Although a new year is really a human construct, I think really taking advantage of new beginnings, of celebrations, of
Yep.
starting anew, I think that's actually a great mindset. Although it's also good to actually pause first and reflect on what the gifts and lessons are of the past year before we jump immediately into setting goals and resolutions for 2026.
I like what you said, that the New Year is a human construct. And you can start resolutions any time of the year, but it's in January where we feel energized, right? We feel inspired to start new resolutions. But what's one thing you think we should leave behind in 2025? One habit or mindset that might have
Yeah, right.
where we felt stuck? Yeah.
Yeah, so I always feel one thing we can leave behind is really feeling like a victim. It's really leaving behind this whole mentality and not allowing circumstances to really overtake you or overpower you. I think it's time to remember to be empowered, to really embrace that you can make your choices no matter what decisions or whatever the circumstances are happening around you. So I think leaving behind this mentality that I'm a victim of whatever is happening around me, I think that's something that we can definitely say goodbye to in 2025.
I completely agree, because lately we've been seeing a lot of that victim mentality, but it's about time that we embrace, our lives and take control of it. But Aurora, the question is, how can we make our goals actually stick for the entire 2026? Because sometimes, by February, hindi na natin makontinue itong mga resolutions na to. How can we set realistic goals and actually stick with them until the end of the year?
Right. So I actually don't set resolutions. I do something, I do set intention. So an intention is really a more overarching statement. So a lot of people have also given up on resolutions and they say, oh, I'm just going to do the word of the year. By doing an intention, it's actually all about a more encompassing statement. And it's basically really asking yourself, who am I becoming in 2026? And how do I want to show up for the people that I love, for my life, for the work that I do, for the world, for my community? And it's really being aligned with your values and really starting from the inside out rather than from the outside in. I think that's the more important piece, is that usually we look at what society values or what society tells us we should value. I think starting from the outside in and starting really from what matters to you is really one way of really showing up for yourself and showing up for the life that you want for the whole year.
That's very interesting. So intentions over resolutions. Can you give us a concrete example of that, of how we can have that mindset of, instead of saying, I'm going to go to the gym more, I'm going to exercise more, or I'm going to start saving my money, less shopping, but intention setting, what's an example of that?
Right. So for last year, my intention was simply surrender. So it is really all about, simplifying. So again, that's aligned with, you making more money, or, being more abundant, because you're simplifying the things that you want. And then surrender meant saying yes to opportunities that came up, even if they weren't something that I had planned or something that I had that just showed up unexpectedly. And I think that really guided me. So whenever I had to make a decision, I would always have to think, oh, is that aligned with my intention of simple surrender?
Okay, so but if someone can focus only on one area, whether it's health, career, or their mindset, what do you think is the most important? What should people prioritize so that it would also have a domino effect in their lives if they want to achieve success?
Well, first, I think it really is. Well, for me, mindset is really the number one thing because really your thoughts determine your reality. But if it really is all about going back to what you value. So I think really alignment, being clear about what matters to you, and really starting from that. So, for example, if it's health, if health is the thing that you want to focus on, it's really asking yourself, why is health an important value to me? How is that aligned with maybe my overarching value of being there for my family, of being healthy for my family? I think really it's about really being clear about what matters. And I think at the end of it all, it's really what your mindset is. It's
Right.
really, this is my intention. This is how I want to show up. And no matter what happens, I am going to show up as that person in 2026.
You're completely right, because if your mind is muddled, then everything else will suffer. Your health, your work, your personal relationships. But Aurora, for those feeling stuck or unfulfilled in life, how do they know that it's time for a shift, whether it's in their career, with their personal relationships, and other aspects?
Well, I think that feeling of stuckness, if having that awareness that you're stuck, I think it's definitely time to make a change. I think that's really a great starting point, is knowing that you are stuck and knowing that, okay, I want to do something about it. And the easiest way is really starting very small. It's really starting with one small step. It's maybe putting on your running shoes. Maybe it's waking up 5 minutes early. Maybe it's starting with a 5 minute meditation or prayer in the morning. It doesn't have to be, change doesn't have to be huge and encompassing. It can really be a small step, and just taking that, showing up consistently and being kind to yourself when you fail, because we all do. So, and then just showing up again, even when you stumble, even when you fall. So I think having the awareness and taking small steps is really one way to actually start transforming your life and getting out of feeling stuck.
I wanted to ask, how important are boundaries when it comes to success? Setting self boundaries, also not giving in too much or people pleasing, and letting others dictate your life. How important are boundaries?
Well, I think that's definitely very important. But again, it also, more important than boundaries, is really self-reflection and understanding why you're being triggered, for example, by certain people, by certain circumstances in your life. I think it really starts from self-understanding, because when you set boundaries, and again, boundaries are very important for caring for yourself, for making sure you thrive, and not just being buffeted by whatever's happening around you. But it's really understanding, why am I being triggered? Because the opposite side of boundaries is setting up too much boundaries, that you limit yourself and make your world so small that opportunities no longer find you. So I think it really comes from self-reflection, from understanding, why am I being triggered? Why do I need to set boundaries around this piece? And what is this telling? What lesson am I supposed to learn from this situation? So I think that is a more mindful way of setting boundaries, rather than just saying, I'm setting a boundary.
Well, it's definitely a balancing act. But what would you say is the role of failure or setbacks in personal growth or career growth, especially in a tough year?
Well, definitely learning. I think at the end of the day, there's really no such thing as a failure or a fall. It's really all about learning. It's really asking yourself, what can I take out of the situation? Right. One of my favorite questions is, what is the present of the present moment? And that's really something that we can look at, like, what gift is being given to me because I didn't succeed or I didn't achieve what I wanted. And if we look hard enough, well, we will get that. We will see what's positive, or what we can take away from the situation when we fail, when we didn't succeed, or when we have disappointed others or ourselves.
Well, that's very nice because so what I'm getting is that self-reflection is very, very important. Taking time to talk to yourself, to discern what you really want, where you want to go. But here's my question, Aurora. 2025 has been quite a turbulent year for the country. We saw a lot of headlines, negative ones, tragic ones. How do you suggest we protect our mental health in 2026, given the many events that are taking place and also affect our lives?
Right. So again, it goes back to awareness. So awareness, not just of what's happening around you. I think it's good to be educated and informed about what's happening in the world, because you are a person in the world. But together with that, there is the necessity of self-awareness as well. So you should know when the news or the situations or the things around you are causing you to spiral. You have to ask yourself: is going on social media, is doing deep dives on all these things still serving my mental and emotional health? And having that awareness and having that critical thinking awareness is something that will help you then say, okay, I need to step back and not go so deep into this. I can just know without having to go so deep into the things that are causing me emotional or mental distress.
And is there one daily or weekly practice that our viewers can keep in mind to make sure that they stay in touch with their emotions and their goals?
Well, my number one practice is really journaling. So it's really all about really taking time to write and to connect with yourself. I have something called the Sunday Night Journal, which is really a practice where you can really reflect on Sunday nights about how you want to show up for the week, and having really the intention of starting the week off on the right foot. So really writing and taking time to reflect is really a fantastic way of understanding yourself, trying to understand the world, and trying to understand your place in it and how you want to show up for the year ahead.
And finally, well, if you could summarize the energy or theme that we should be keeping in mind and carrying into the brand new year, what would that energy or theme be?
Well, my favorite theme, it's begin again. So again, the new year really gives us a great opportunity to start anew. It's a fresh start. And I think but at the end of the day, you can also begin again. We're here in the world to grow, to evolve, to become the fullest version of ourselves. And sometimes that comes with setbacks and challenges. Just tell yourself, I can begin again. Even if I fail, even if I fall, I want to keep trying, I want to keep showing up, and I want to keep beginning again.
Well, there you go. Begin again. 2 words that we should keep in mind as we start a brand new year, 2026. But for now, thank you very much for sharing all those insights and tips. That was Aurora Suarez, a life and career coach. Thanks, Aurora.
Thank you so much, and Happy New Year.